Oh. Hmm. I mean, if it survives the night, I guess it's okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Medley number 229. It is Thursday today. It is Thursday. We made it. Everybody made it. Congratulations. Hello, Baldy. I'm going to go ahead and start the morning medley early. Um, should last about 30 minutes. I'm going to see if I can go to about 9:30, 9:45 with the morning medley. I'm going to go ahead and start it off with 78 to Downtown. I think I used to say Baldy instead of Baldy, but you just haven't been here in a while. And usually when people like come back after a while, I have forgotten how to pronounce your name, so I apologize, Baldy. Crow says that they like Not on My Watch. I'm glad that you like that song, Crow. Did you hear it recently? Is that what happened? Word up, Crow. Well, thank you for listening to it. Yeah, that's not where I want to go. Okay, so. I'll work on it more at the end of the stream. Crow, what made you go listen to Not on My Watch? pot stickers. Like, never. I never. Diz, I regularly forget what pot stickers are and I have to ask people, and then they say they're just the same thing as dumplings. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I have been told that. Pot stickers doesn't sound like something you'd eat to me. It sounds like something that you, an object that you would either stick to a pot or something that would help a pot from like slipping on the counter. I don't know. Doesn't sound like food to me. Was that your whole question, bro? Just if I remembered, Midnight Drove too. The opposite says this. Dumpling sounds unappetizing to me. A little dumb. Interesting. And Bolly never eats dumplings. I don't know. I live in a very Chinese neighborhood, so dumpling. I mean, I don't know. I hear it all the time, and it's referred to as food, so it just is food to me. I don't really have to think about it objectively ever because it just is food. It's like thinking of the word bread or something. It's like bread doesn't sound weird to me because I just hear it so often. People are constantly eating it. I don't know that I ever leave my house without seeing the word dumpling at least 10 times. It's almost like the word boba. Like, boba, I guess if I think about it objectively, doesn't really sound appetizing, the word, but I don't think about it objectively anymore. It's too common. But I never hear pot stickers. I don't think I've ever heard a Chinese person say pot stickers out loud. I don't think I've ever gone into a restaurant and said, I would like the pork pot stickers, please. Like, I don't think I've ever actually seen that written on a menu, if I'm honest. I think I've only seen the word pot stickers on like a website of like regional white recipes. But it could exist. There could be like pot stickers on a menu in like a Chinese restaurant somewhere. Who knows? Maybe I just haven't been there yet. Word. I'm trying to think of another thing that's like that. What else is like that? I mean, I know that America has a lot of regional words for sandwiches, right? Like hoagies and grinders and stuff like that. But it's, in a lot of ways, they're all essentially similar, you know. I don't know. I guess you go and you just order whatever you see on the menu. If they say pot stickers on the menu, I guess then I would use the word pot sticker. If it says grinder, I guess I'd order a grinder. Really interesting. That's really funny, Diz. Those are. That's really interesting. I wonder why. I wonder why it is. I wonder why that is. I avoid San Francisco like it's a plague, so there is a lot of stuff happening in San Francisco that I don't know about. Food things and otherwise. But yeah, I stay away from there. I'm sure to play every song intentional today. Maybe today will be the focus stream. Is Crow still in here? Jukebox, or is it Open Owl Jukebox? I'm gonna say Open AI Jukebox. I have not. I don't know what that is. I want to do things as Alpha. Oh, Alpha, you're in a good place for that. What exactly are you trying to do now? What is it? What are the things? It's extra soupy today. I don't know how I feel about it. Alpha, yesterday after I finished the stream, I worked all day. And I mean all day. I worked all the way until like 11:45 p.m. and I passed out. I'm suffering from the wildest amount of ear fatigue, and I feel like my legs don't work. And I have to do it all again today. But I think I'm gonna take a break around 6, play a video game or something probably. Ear fatigue really isn't a joke. Oh my god. Guys, the things I was hearing last night. The things I was hearing that weren't actually there. Also, last night, I was so tired, I forgot to move my car. My car's parked in the fire lane right now. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's happened to me a lot where I'll park my car in the fire lane. Normally because my neighbor is like, will park their car that blocks me from getting to my spot. They don't do it on well, they do it on purpose, but they don't do it specifically to spite me. They leave their car there a lot, and so sometimes I'll get home, and like maybe I have food with me, and I'm like, I don't have time to deal with this. I'll just go upstairs and eat, then I'll come back down like an hour or so, and I'll move my car once they've moved theirs out of the way. But every now and then I forget, and it's always kind of this like horrible realization when I like pull my curtain back, and I'm looking down at the fire lane, and I can see my car parked in it, and it's just like, oh no, and I see the parking ticket on my windshield, and it's a rude awakening. But I did it today, and there's no ticket on my windshield for some reason. It's really weird. Not only was it parked there without a permit, but it's in a fire lane. And it's pretty far away from the curb. It's a horrible parking job. I was just really hungry. I made the mistake of not eating all day yesterday, and then remedying that with Burger King, of all things. 1, I shouldn't be eating Burger King because it's Burger King. 2, I completely forgot they were doing their like, here's a Thanksgiving feast for $2 deal. So the line was like around the building. Like people were about their Burger King. But yeah, that's all I ate yesterday other than the smoothie. It was a bad move on my part. Bad moves for Omni. But we'll just not let that happen again today. I think I'll around 6 I'll probably make some food and then play Fall Guys or something. Do I want to move it now? No, I don't want to move it now. Because right now, if anybody, like if friggin' parking enforcement pulled up to give me a ticket, I would just run downstairs and move my car and they wouldn't be able to give me a ticket. As long as I move my car before they print out the ticket, I'm golden. And I have like the perfect vantage point right now. I can go from sitting here in front of you guys to sitting in the driver's seat of my car in less than 30 seconds, so I'm okay. But thank you, Alpha, I do appreciate that. Polar says BK is deadly. Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love Burger King. I appreciate Burger King so much as a company, but I don't love putting it in my body. At least not often. The camera's so lopsided. I'm sorry, guys. Alright, this next song. Remember when I was... Oh, that's from yesterday. So I have that TV channel that plays nothing but Degrassi, right? Pluto TV, it's great. got a little bit burnt out on dramatic Canadian teenagers, and I noticed that the TV also has a Three's Company channel. Anyways, I noticed that it also has a Three's Company channel, and Three's Company was such a cool show to me when I was a kid. I don't remember exactly how young I was, but I can guarantee you I was watching it after it had been taken off the air. This was all syndication that I was seeing. But I remember looking at Three's Company and thinking that that's what my life was going to be like. I was like, I'm going to grow up, I'm going to move out, and then I'm going to get two quirky roommates, and then it's just going to be fun hijinks and jokes and drama and tears and laughs every day, and it never happened. It never happened. I think the closest I had to that was my very first roommate when I moved to LA. I think that was the closest thing I had to that. We were always like getting into some weird stuff, but I think that was because LA was new to both of us, and so we were constantly like exploring weird new things and like getting into like not trouble, but like weird trouble, and it was kind of fun and tropey, but it was never quite Three's Company. Mm-mm-mm. I think isn't that dope? I love that. I love that. You don't miss it while it's happening, or you don't realize how cool it is while it's happening. But once it's gone, it's gone. But anyways, I was looking at Three's Company. By some weird turn of luck, I guess, or chance, I happened to turn on the Three's Company's channel to catch the last 3 episodes of the entire series. And not only was I overtaken with some nostalgia, like, wow, I did really, really like this show, even though I didn't clearly get a lot of the jokes. I know now as an adult, Three's Company makes a lot of very specific jokes that I, as a kid, did not get. There's a lot of gay jokes in that show. It has a lot of gay jokes, and I just didn't get them as a kid. I didn't know what was going on. Like, there's an entire, like, a good chunk of the show. I mean, the entirety of the show is the main character pretending to be gay so that he doesn't get evicted. Which is funny to me now. Anyways, it's the main character pretending to be gay so he doesn't get evicted. And me as a kid, I didn't understand, one, what eviction was and like why that matters. And I also didn't understand a lot of the like sexual innuendo that was going on. Anyways, Three's Company was a fun show. And when I look at the last episode of it, I was like, oh, this is definitely teeing up for a spinoff, right? Like, there's no way, like, it doesn't end conclusively. It ends in a way where it's just like, oh, I can already see the next show. And sure enough, when I looked it up, there was a spinoff show called Three's a Crowd that took place right after Three's Company. And it had horrible ratings and got canceled, which, you know, whatever, right? Such is the fate of a lot of spinoffs, but I feel like that doesn't happen that much anymore. Do we still do spin-offs of like TV shows? I mean, I'm sure it still happens, but I feel like not to the same extent. Like, I feel like nowadays, usually when there's a successful TV show, we kind of just like leave it alone. But Walking Dead had a spin-off, right? Wasn't there a Walking Dead spin-off? Or did I make that up? Hey, what's up, Ramirez? Last time I was here was like a month ago. Anything new? I don't remember what was happening a month ago, Ramirez. So I'm sure something's new. Was the last time you were here, Ramirez, was it a production stream or was it one of these streams? Was I making music or was I just playing piano? Because if you weren't in the production stream, yeah, a lot of new things happen. I make new songs every week. So if you've missed production streams, then I guess you just missed a lot of new music. But I mean, not anything wild, not anything unexpected, you know. I didn't do a backflip or anything. Diz says young Sheldon. Ooh, I avoid that. I avoid Big Bang Theory, and because of Big Bang Theory and my feelings towards it, I haven't watched Young Sheldon, which I'm pretty sure is probably a good show. It's gotten an Emmy, I think. So, it's probably a good show, but you're right. Young Sheldon is a spinoff of The Big Bang Theory, which is a huge, successful show. So, yeah, you're right. You're right. Spinoffs still be happening. Um, I'm trying to think of another one. I do like The Boys Alpha. I do like that show. Oh, there's a new episode out tomorrow of that show. Better Call Saul is a spinoff of Breaking Bad, I think. Never seen either. Oh, you're right, Soothsayer. I've seen both of those, and I forgot that quickly. Yeah. Technically, so is El Camino was a spinoff of Breaking Bad. So, Breaking Bad. Yeah, I guess we still do the same thing. Never mind. If there's a show that's wildly successful, people will usually try to squeeze a little bit of extra money out of it by making a spinoff. Spinoff. They'll take one of the popular characters from it and give them their own show. I mean, Friends tried to have a spinoff. It didn't work out, but they did try to have a spinoff. Technically, every season of Degrassi feels like a spinoff. But Degrassi did technically get one spinoff, or two, 3 spinoffs. Degrassi's weird. I don't know what you call that, but there is a lot of spinning off of things in Degrassi for sure. I'm trying to figure out what the best trying to work on my basic chord progressions. I'm trying to have more basic chord progressions. I can play Winter Heart if you want, Ramirez. Yeah, the comic, I didn't really like Alpha. And also, yeah, of course they're gonna keep changing stuff around. I don't know how caught up you are, but they've already done away with a lot of the stuff from the comic. The show is going a completely different direction. There's a period of time, Alpha, where that's all I would read. I would read realistic, gritty takes on superhero stories. The Boys is a good example of that. Powers is a really good example of that. What else is a good example of that? Pretty much anything by Mark Millar, honestly, is a good example of that. Even though I don't love his writing style anymore, it was good for me when I was 14 and angsty. But now, a lot of it feels just gratuitous. I feel the same way about the Boys comic book. It feels gratuitous for the sake of gratuity, and so I'm glad that the show got rid of a lot of that. I get it. I get why comics like that exist, but it's just come on, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do all that. Alpha says a lot of people hate Brian Michael Bendis. What are your thoughts? I think he's alright. I'm not exactly sure why people hate Brian. I think a lot of his comics are really wordy. He focuses more on dialogue for sure than he does action. So sometimes there will just be pages where it's like paragraphs and paragraphs in the speech bubbles. Maybe people don't like him for that reason. Maybe people just think he's a bad writer. But Brian Michael Bendis did like make Ultimate Spider-Man, which is the only Marvel universe that I've like read every comic in. It's the only thing that I was like, oh, this is actually really really good. So I feel like maybe I'm biased. I like if somebody asked me to recommend them a Marvel comic, I would recommend them Ultimate Spider-Man. And that's Brian Michael Bendis. Like Brian Michael Bendis made Miles Morales, so I feel like it's hard for me to be super objective and like judging Brian Michael Bendis. He's pretty integral in me even liking comic books, but I could maybe if I looked at it more objectively, I could see how he could be bad. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't know. I guess I didn't really know that people didn't like him. I don't. But I mean, people don't like everybody, so that makes sense. Yeah, I have nothing but good. Like I like him. I like him. I also like Neil Gaiman, but I feel like everybody likes him. Gaiman. I like him. There's a few people that I really like. Steve. Oh, what's his name? Oh, I can't think of his name. The dude that made Morning Glories. He's really good. Um, yeah, Ditko's good. Not that Steve though. My Steve is still alive. I'm talking about a living Steve. Um, but I don't like Mark Millar. And there's another one, another comic book artist who's just all of his stuff is just like it's just filled with like people ripping heads off and rape, and it's like I get it, I get what you're doing, dude, but it's just like I can only take so much. It very rarely services the plot to me, very much. So I don't. Did anybody read Hit Girl? Doesn't matter. I'm not gonna talk about comics in here. I'm gonna say I understand why people could maybe not like Brian Michael Bendis, but I like him. I think he's fine. You, do I recommend Hit Girl? No, absolutely not. No, I do not. I don't recommend that. Never. I would pay you to make me forget that I read that. I think as far as authors, it takes an author has to do a lot for me to actually have a distaste for the author. Like I don't like Stephen King, but I think it's because I've read so many Stephen King things that are bad. Maybe he has written a lot. Maybe I just had a bad um, luck, and I just happened to pick a lot of things that didn't work for me. I mean, you can't become that successful and be bad at writing. I just maybe don't like his writing style. Um, and there's like a couple of more. George R. R. Martin. Do not like his writing style. I only read the Game of Thrones books because I thought that he was gonna, keep writing them until he was finished. Honestly, if he finished those books, I think I would like him. I think the majority of the reason I don't like that man is because of his inconsistency and. Anyways, I read a handful of graphic novels. I read all The Walking Dead from start to end. Holy crap! I read Scott Pilgrim. I own The Watchmen, but I don't typically read a lot of Marvel or DC stuff. I feel you on that, Cyber. I don't either. I'm gonna say the only Marvel stuff that I've read with intent and passion was the Ultimate Marvel stuff, and the reason I was able to do that, Cyber, is because it was like this big. Like I own in my living room on my bookshelf, I own every single piece of Ultimate Marvel comic books. Like I can just own it, and it only takes like 2 shelves. Um, so I read all of that. I'm not gonna read Marvel, honestly. I'm not gonna read DC either. Somebody could be like, "Yo, this is a really really sick run of like Daredevil though," and I don't want to. I know it's like really closed minded, but I'm a completionist, and there's just no way to be a completionist when it comes to like classic 626 Marvel stuff. Sorry, 616? 626? Wow, I'm really out of the game, huh? Anyways, yeah, I feel you on that though, Cyber. As far as reading Walking Dead from beginning to finish, I didn't. I got pretty far, and then I just got exhausted. Not that it was bad, I just got like tired because it was exhausting. It's an exhausting read. Scott Pilgrim, of course, I read all of that. Who hasn't? Watchmen, who doesn't own that? That's a classic. That's like the Bible. Um, so I feel you on that though. I feel you on your other comic choices for sure. Um, yeah, me too. Alpha. I thought they were done with the series as well. I'm not sure if I'm a typical comics fan or just occasionally like stories told in a graphic way. I think that, um, oh, I think that I was a comic book like nerd, like a comic book fan. I no longer am, but if there's a really compelling story, um, I'll do it. I would say that all of the comic books I've been truly into outside of Ultimate Marvel could have made just good novels, right? Like I would have just read Watchmen, even if it was only text. You know, I would have read Fable if it was if it was only text. I would have read Scott Pilgrim if it was. No, I wouldn't have. Anyways, comics are too crazy to get into, says Alpha. That's true. Did you ever read Why the Last Man? That's another good one. Why the Last Man is by... Wait, Why the Last Man is by... Cyber, quick, tell me who did that. Because they also wrote something I read. I haven't read Why the Last Man, but I almost read it based off of the author. The author wrote something that I own. Have you ever read manga or manhwa? Yes. A good manhwa I could recommend is something called Priest, although I don't think they're ever going to finish it. And I have read manga. There's also some manga in there. Brian Vaughn. Brian K. Vaughn? Am I wild? Is there a K in there, Cyber? What did he write that I love? Could somebody name Brian K. Vaughn things? What did he write that I loved? Oh, is he Saga? Yeah. Word up. Yes. I read Saga, and then somebody was like, oh, you need to read Why the Last Man. He also did a good job over there. But I haven't read it yet. Did Brian K. Vaughan also do that, like, Harry Potter comic? The comic that's like Harry Potter, but not? It's like of a dude that figures out he's a wizard or whatever. Anyways, Diz picked up MGS 5 on Saturday, The Phantom Pain, and I'm liking it so far. I'm glad to hear that, Diz. Very glad to hear that. It is a fun game. I would say that one of my biggest, not regrets, one of my biggest, like, pet peeves with the way that I game is I get so sucked into a game and it becomes everything, and I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. Games like MGS5, games like Horizon Zero Dawn, games like Death Stranding, games like... I almost said Kingdom Hearts 3, but let's be real. Games like Spider-Man. And then I play it and I beat it, and then I just shelf it and I never touch it again, and I never even really think about it again, outside of, like, abstract pleasure, I guess. Like I remember having a lot of fun playing MGS5, but I can't really tell you what happened in it. And I can't tell you what the missions were like, or what guns I used, or how I even played the game. But I do. Wow, I did enjoy that game. This has never gotten to that series. I know it's mostly top-down play. Mostly, I don't know. But yes, there are some of those games that are top-down. But I would not say that it is mostly top-down play. No. Seconds had a really good main character. Alpha Seconds is, I would say the Seconds is what I consider to be Brian Lee O'Malley's, like, maybe more maturest piece of work, so I like it. I didn't really love Lost at Sea, although that was, like, my first roommate's, like, favorite book. And I also didn't like Scott Pilgrim the way everybody else did. Um, but Seconds is very good. I do like Seconds. Spiderman Ps4. Love the OST, says Ramirez. Yeah, good OST, good game, good everything. I did, and it. I will say that any game. How do I want to put this? You know what I wanted? Because there was Spider-Man DLC. Yes, there was Spider-Man DLC. What I wanted, all I ever wanted, all I ever needed. Is that parking enforcement? No, I'm fine. All I wanted was a game. My dream games, guys. Let's talk about dream games. DBZ Kakarot is one of my dream games, and it exists now. And boy, am I happy to have played it. I have dream games, guys. Guys, I have dreams, and I dream big. I always dream of games that I feel like technology can't meet the like benchmark of, and so I kind of have to wait for tech to get there. Like for the longest time, I had a dream of a Pokemon game that was an RPG, like an action RPG, where anytime you got in a Pokemon battle, it was a real-time battle. It wasn't this turn-based like rubbish. Like you would throw out your Pokemon, then you would like run around and control the Pokemon, kind of like you can in Pokken, or like how you can in like any other fighting game. It would turn into basically a fighting game with you and your Pokemon, almost like Marvel vs. Capcom, where you can like switch characters, but your characters still have the same amount of health. That's what I wanted. I wanted it to be like the show. But you run around and there's other Pokemon Masters, and maybe there's like some type of online aspect, like there's like an open world where everybody else can run around. Like, that's what I wanted. But I can't have it, you see. I can't have it because whatever. Technology isn't there. I don't know. For whatever reason, that's not the game that I can ever have. So instead, I get stuff like freaking Hey Hey Eevee or whatever the heck it was. Screw it. Let's Go Pikachu. It's my dream game and it'll never exist. One of my dream games for Dragon Ball is I was like, I want to play the anime. I don't want to do this stupid stuff where it's like Tekken or it's like Mortal Kombat with Dragon Ball Z characters. And I don't want to play some like Game Boy Advance game where it's like a top-down, I'm running around and shooting stupid Kai Blasts. I was like, I want a full-on 3D action RPG experience where I get to fly around the worlds from planet to planet, and I get to do the fights just like they happened in the anime. And I finally got that game last year, I believe. That wasn't this year. I finally got that game last year, I think. I got it recently anyway. And it felt so good, guys. For me, it felt so good to play that game because I've been waiting on it for a really long time. Yeah, that was good. Also, Ghost of Tsushima in a lot of ways is like a dream game for me. I'm not going to say a very specific one, but I did want a game where I could run around like GTA, but it was feudal Japan. And that is as close maybe to that as I will get. And I'm pleased with it. My only complaint about Ghost of Tsushima is I feel like I was able to master it a little too easily. But a Marvel or a superhero game that I have that's a dream game that I don't know if I'll ever get is basically like if you got to play Spider-Man, but stuff just kept happening. It was like DLC forever. Some people can argue about that where they'd be like, I've been playing the Spider-Man game for 5 years and I've spent $500 on it because every single time a DLC comes out it costs $12. Like, people can complain about it. But I would be willing to invest time and money into a game where I'm just Spider-Man in New York, and then there's just new villain DLCs or there's new storyline plot points where it's like, oh, now I have to fight the Scorpion. Oh, now it's Sinister Six. Oh, now, Captain America's here or whatever. Like, I would love that. I would love to play an episodic I would love to play like an episodic superhero game. Because that's how superhero stories work, you know? They're not very penultimate, they're very episodic. Anyways, I like FPS games. It feels like it gives me more action. Word up. I feel you on that. I like some FPSs, not most though. Dream game for Ramirez would be CS:GO, but you get to actually kill people. Can you not kill people in CS:GO? Wait, what happens when you shoot people in Counter Strike? At least when I've never played CS:GO, but when I play Counter Strike, like the people usually die when you kill them. People usually die when you kill them. Do you mean you don't? I don't get it. I don't know what you want, Ramirez. Always says they keep expanding for the fun of it. GTA 5 was supposed to have that. I'm going into season territory, but that's the thing, Cyber. That I'm not saying that I want all games to have seasons, you know, but I'm saying that I'm okay with some games having seasons. Like if there was Spider-Man and it just turned into a forever Spider-Man game where there was just tons of DLC and seasons that came out, I would actually be into that because I see Spider-Man as a very episodic, series-driven thing. Now, if they came out with like a new IP, like if I was playing Death Stranding and it just kept going on infinitely, I wouldn't like that. I'm like, yo, close this story. It's an original story. But we all know things like Spider-Man or a superhero story, it's just too big to be contained in one game or two games or three games. In the same way that it's wild that they would take an entire like Harry Potter book and try to squeeze it into like an hour and a half long movie. It's like a lot happened. Like, you know, for example, like comparing them making an entire Harry Potter book into one movie versus taking one trade paperback of Umbrella Academy and turning it into what, like 10 episodes of a TV show, like a season? I prefer the season because I feel like we can dig into stuff a little bit more. There's a little bit more attention to detail on things. Anywho, oh, word up, Ramirez. Yeah, Miles Morales Spider-Man should be good. Should be fun. Hey, what's up, Yoshi boy? How do you feel about the new Spider-Man game? How do I feel about the new Spider-Man game? I haven't played it. Wait, are you talking about the one that came out, or are you talking about the one that isn't out? Are you talking about Spider-Man, or are you talking about Miles Morales? What are you asking me, Hoshi? I can't scroll up, by the way, guys. Well, wait, can I? I can't. Oh, yeah, I can. My bad. I'm good. I forgot that I have a touchscreen. Maybe Final Fantasy 16 or Kingdom Hearts game with a black lead, says Alpha. That's your dream game? It is entirely possible to play Metal Gear 5 without any context of the rest of the series and enjoy the entirety of the gameplay experience, but it's enhanced much more with the knowledge of the series. I would agree with that 100%. For anybody that wants to play Metal Gear Solid 5 and they're like, I haven't played the other ones though. Well, I understand it. It's like, you'll understand it just as good as I did. Yo, all of us that played like all of those games, we were just as lost as you might end up being, but yeah, ultimately, I think knowledge of the other games manifests more as like Easter eggs than it does as mandatory, you know, contextual knowledge of what's happening in front of you. So many new characters, you know, some of the old characters don't even show up or get mentioned, and you know, it chronologically happens before quite a bit of the Metal Gear series. Like Metal Gear Solid 5 happens before Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2. And 4. Yes. It happens after 3, though. Okay. Anyways, PS4 or Xbox, says Yoshi Boy. I really don't care. I really don't care. I'm so sorry. I know that's like such a good, like, spicy console war question. If you're asking me which one I'm probably gonna buy, I'm probably going to buy oh, you're saying PS4 or Xbox? It's not even talking next gen stuff. Are you talking about? So I assume you're talking about Xbox One, right, Yoshi? Are you saying Xbox One? Because you just say Xbox there. I'm assuming you're comparing two equal generations. PS4 or Xbox One. I own a PS4. I don't have an Xbox One. Um, so I can't say whether it's good or not. Um, Seems to be just as good as the PS4 though, from how I've seen people play it. And as far as the next gen, I don't know. I haven't played either one of them, and I'm not going to buy either one of them this year anyway. Probably going to get a PS5 next year unless something changes. Ultimately, I'm probably this is gonna make me sound like a glutton. I'm probably gonna end up owning both of them because if Xbox, I mean, if Microsoft is buying up developers, if they buy up any more, like, I might have to go over there. And the Xbox One is, or the new Xbox is cheaper than the PlayStation, so, I mean, it's cheaper. I want someone who looks like me doing crazy flips in the air and shooting fire from his eyes in an anime-like world. Word up. Interesting, Alpha. I don't. I don't even know that I. Have you played Prototype 2, Alpha? Hey, what's up, Kiwi? Oh. Oh. My point, Alpha, was like, I like legit don't notice. I knew you were gonna bring it up. Hey, I don't know what you want me to do. I don't know what you want me to do. That's the only game I can think of. Word up, word up. I'm sure we could think of more. I mean, your point is taken. Your point is taken. I mean, who am I? I'm a black person too. It's just, yeah. I don't. I think I don't care what the main character looks like. I think the main character. I'm trying to think of a main character that I actually like. Uh-oh. But I like the way they look and everything like that. Everybody's doing great, Kiwi. Thanks for answering for everybody. I'm trying to think. Prototype 2 is so fun, says Yoshi Boy. Prototype is very fun. I like both of them. I mean, the fun wears thin for me, because I don't really like just rampaging around. Like, Prototype to me had like a lot of cool tools, but not very cool ways to use those tools. Like, I wish that there was a little bit more narrative, like, glue to hold all of the, like, smashing and slicing and tearing and exploding together, you know? I think, crap. I hope you get this, Alpha. I hope that there's more black main characters in games. That's so funny. Prototype 2. You know what's funny, Alpha? Because, I mean, we're getting Miles Morales. You know what I want? I want Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. If there's black people that are gonna be, the main character of like anything, I would prefer them not to be like named Coltrane. I would prefer them not to be named Coltrane, and I would prefer there not to be like hip hop beats that play every time they come on screen. Oh, the fact that there was like trap beats playing while like Miles Morales was fighting in the Spider-Man trailer. I'm not saying it bothered me, but it was like, yeah, I get it. He's black. It's a black Spider-Man. Then like the hi-hats came in, I was like, all right, here we go. DBZ Kakarot is suck at lit game. Oh, sorry, suck a lit game. Oh, that's cool. I like Walking Dead main dude. He was really nice. Rick Grimes? Oh, such a lit game. Word, Yoshi. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot's good. Boy, did I get sidetracked. Oh, I didn't play the game. Sorry, Kiwi. I didn't play the game. I didn't know. If blacks are in Dragon Ball Z, can they not have 1950s added to them? No, Crow. I like that. You're talking about Mr. Popo? Fool's hilarious. We love it. We love when they got the big red lips and just like pitch black face. That's wild. I remember looking at him, and he was so much of like a racist caricature that I didn't even realize he was supposed to be black. I was like, oh, I think he's like an alien or something. I was like, certainly that's not a person. I'm afraid of them with the big lip stereotype, says Crow. Word up. Something starring black people that doesn't mention their black wants. Word. I feel you. I feel you, Alpha. I feel everybody. I feel people in wanting representation. I think I don't know why I do this. I think maybe there's quite a few people that do what I'm doing right now, and that's maybe what the problem is with games and representation, is that I never really I kind of look at video game characters almost the same way that I look at the little beans from Fall Guys. I kind of just see them as like nothing. The only times I've actually looked at the character as something is when, like, if you guys have played Detroit, like when I played Detroit Become Human, I think it's because they were telling a very human story. I was like, oh crap, I need to like care about who this person is. But I don't think I ever looked at for example, like Noctis from Final Fantasy 15 and ever like was like, oh, that's a human? I was like, I've never seen a human look like that. I've never seen a white boy look like that until that game came out. Then I was seeing a lot of cosplayers. It's like, I don't know. They don't look realistic to me. Nothing looks real. Even in Control, are there black people in Control? Maybe it's just because I know what's happening, Alpha. I know what's happening. I think it's because I'm just so used to not seeing black people in video games that I kind of don't care when they're not there. It's almost like when somebody, like, I don't know, like season 5 of Friends told me they were like, yo, where are the black people? Aren't they in New York? And I was like, I'm sure there's black people in here somewhere. And I just kind of like focused real hard, and I was like, oh, none of the characters are black. That's weird. I think it's just because I was just so used to it not happening that I was like, whatever. And then when something did happen, I didn't like it because there's like this hump you have to get over. It's like you can't have black cinema without having to get over the hump of like blaxploitation first. It's like eventually there will be black characters in video games everywhere for sure, Alpha. We'll get there. But in the meantime, when it does happen and Miles Morales shows up on screen, I'm gonna have to hear a trap beat. Or when freaking the main character from Prototype 2 shows up on screen, he's gonna have to talk like, I don't know, like Samuel L. Jackson, and just like be swearing a bunch and be like extremely aggressive and abrasive. I think I'm gonna have to deal with that for a while, and I don't like that. So, it's not as important to me. I think in movies it feels important because I see those as human beings, but in video games it's not as important to me because I don't see those people as people. Yeah, that's weird. That is really interesting. No, I've never listened to the thing you just said, Alpha. This song is called Flight Plan. No, it's not. The song is called Into Thin Air. Video games aren't real, baby. Yes, this is true, Cyber. Isn't that funny? When I look at Solid Snake, I don't think of him as white. I don't even think of him as a white person. That's weird. Maybe I'm the problem. Snake's white, right? Solid Snake is a clone. Yeah, but like of a white person, right? Yeah, I know he's like a test tube baby. Can somebody name a white person? Tomb Raider? Lara Croft? Lara Croft's white, right? I forgot the main character from this anime show called Your Lie in April, but you look like a black version of him. Maybe it's because of big glasses. Yoshi, don't say things like that to me. told me that I need to watch Your Lie in April. They're like, I don't know why, but you just remind me of Your Lie in April. You gotta see this though, bro. Like, I feel like this movie was made for you. Don't see it because it's sad. Yoshi's not gonna recommend sad things to me. You're a black Hideo Kojima. Oh, I wish. I would love to spend those black Hideo Kojima dollars. Hmm. Hmm. Gotta think about that actually. That's so interesting. Wow, why do I do that? I think hmm. Has anybody seen Umbrella Academy? I don't want to spoil it for anybody, so forget that I asked that. I'm not going to talk about it here. But I think things come with race. Oh, things come with race. Usually, like societal things come with race. Like if I see somebody in a certain position in life and they look a certain way, I'm like, yeah, I guess that makes sense. That fits. I think that if a video game, is there any video games that address racism, but not in like not in a like, oh, they're a Plorthian and we're like Martians, like eradicate them all. Are there like video games where like actual racism happens, like real races, and not like in like a Grand Theft Auto way? But you're right, Crow. You're right. I'm not saying that Rockstar doesn't handle racism well. I'm just saying that Rockstar is not exactly. Oh, Call of Duty. Hmm. Doesn't Detroit do that? Detroit. Detroit does kind of. Detroit does a different thing, in my opinion, more so than that. Detroit makes it more about humans versus uh, robots and androids, more so than like existing races that we have to deal with and be every day. Hmm. No video games aren't mature enough, in my opinion, to handle racism in a way that makes sense. I feel you, Cyber. Word up. Any attempt at being not fun usually derided. Yeah, yeah. And I agree that even if they made a video game about racism, I don't think people will want to play it. I think people are more. People just like fantasy racism. You know, people like it when it's like, we don't like Gungans, ha ha ha, or, you know, people like to see. It's kind of like how everybody likes rebellion and overthrowing government when it happens in Star Wars, but when it happens in real life, people are like, yo, you're being way too loud, like chill. So I feel you, Cyber. I don't think that we maybe necessarily need it. I don't know. Maybe if it's told more in an analogy, you know, one example removes type way. Hmm. Anyways, why did you have to spoil that thought? Snake was snake with arms and legs. I'm sorry, Diz. Oh, sorry. Thinking about Metal Gear Solid makes me sad. I don't want to think about it anymore. Um. Oh, not necessarily, Yoshi. I don't need anything that explicit. I just mean like something that happens in games that has to do with race. I think that sometimes it's brought up and it's dismissed pretty quickly, or it's like, hey, we know what we're doing here. I like that when they do it that way. It's pretty cool. Um, Star Wars is terrible, says Alpha. They have a following, but everyone hates it. Hmm. Yeah, that would be horrible, Cyber. That would be so bad. That would be awful. Yeah, I don't want that. As soon as you said that, I realized I didn't want it. Yeah, that's really bad. Never mind. Never mind. Erase the drawing board. I don't want that. Okay, let me finish this song. How come they haven't done that with Assassin's Creed Alpha? Was that not Assassin's Creed Origins? Basically the entire Assassin's Creed catalog. Rockstar's sense of humor or maturity level has never progressed past the 2000s era of comedy. I agree with that, Diz. I don't know that is a thing that makes me not like Rockstar. It's just I know what to expect from Rockstar for sure. Not a lot of African-based stuff, says Cyber. True. Welcome, Babe. Welcome to the fold. Good morning. I hope that you had good rest last night and that you feel okay this morning. Yeah. Alpha's dream game is basically just Final Fantasy 16 with a black main character. Will we ever get a black main character out of Final Fantasy? I don't know, Alpha. You know what Japan's like. We know what Japan's doing. We've seen black characters in Japanese games. I'm not saying they're all bad, but there definitely is there's a type. Okay, can you do a backflip, asked Yoshi? I cannot do a backflip. Would you have said Final Fantasy 12 if there's no black people there? I would say 12. Doesn't 12 have Fran in it? That rabbit? That rabbit lady? She's black, right? Oh, I'm having too much fun. With that one. I think that in general, I mean, what was homie's name from she's brown fur. Oh Christ. Just stylistic with a black lead in a fantasy setting. Word up. You want fantasy black, not regular black. I feel you. I see the issue with how black characters are so ambiguous. Yeah, a black character can kind of be whatever. Make somebody's skin dark, they're black. I feel like Barrett was definitively black, and they were like, see, he's like ultra violent, and he's really vulgar, he's like big, he's a black person. But sometimes there's like characters in Final Fantasy or in like a fantasy setting, right, Alpha? And their skin is dark, but they're not black, you know? Where it's like, they might have like, you know, black is not just a skin tone. There's like hair things, right? And there's facial things. And I think that they will just like take what a typical Final Fantasy character looks like and they'll just like you know, turn the melanin knob up, but it's not particularly a black person. Would that not do it for you, Alpha? Would that do it? Or would you rather like them actually be like a black person? Do you just want darker skin, or do you want a black person? He's definitely supposed to be Mr. T with a gun. Yeah, I mean, taking a black person and being making their hand a gun is cool. Thanks, Japan. I like Japan. Anywho, that's fine. That's fine. You want an actual black person in a fantasy site? That's your dream game. I think all of my dream games are very, very specific, and usually they're not new. Now that I'm thinking about it, like when I think about like my dream Dragon Ball game, it was like I wanted to do what the show let me do. My dream Pokemon game, I wanted to do what the show seems to let people do. Outside of that, what are my dream games? Oh, didn't I just say one? The whole point is that I had a dream game and I was never gonna get it. I mean, I'm getting my... I remember one of my biggest problems with Final Fantasy is that it had a turn-based battle system, and it seems like that's all but going away now with 16. Looking at the way 16 plays, it looks like that's dead in the water finally, so... I don't know, maybe I'm getting my dream Final Fantasy game. If I'm being completely honest with you guys, I don't know that I've ever thoroughly liked a Final Fantasy game. I just experienced them and consumed them because they existed, and I enjoyed them while they were happening, but after I beat them, I never wanted to play them again. In Final Fantasy 14, you can make a black character, and Vera is also black, says Crow. I don't think Alpha's talking about, like... Oh, maybe Alpha is. Alpha, does it count if you have to create the character? Like, if you start a game and they're like, create your character, and you make them black, does that count? Or is it like somebody had to make a black main character? Because in my thing, I would prefer that it actually be scripted into the game, as opposed to me having to make it, because then it doesn't feel real. Yoshi says, because you have a ton on your wall. What? I must have missed the first half of it, that question. What do I have on my wall? Bow ties? Stickers? Oh, what is that? That's a thing, right? I do have a lot of ties. Yoshi. I do have a lot of ties. I don't know where Liana is, but this one's for Liana. It's a traditional accordion, it says. Sorry, no, it says tango accordion. Oh. Tango accordion. Coming from someone who has never played a Final Fantasy game, says Diz. I've heard the later FF series were doing too much. This says weren't the originals good? I don't know what we're referring to it as the originals when we get to Final Fantasy. What, like the first two, the first three, the first six? The first six technically isn't 6 games, but like, are we talking? Are we counting 7 in the originals? I don't know. I want a Japanese man at a board meeting to show character with darker skin and an afro and or dreads or fade and say, this will be our main character in our next major blockbuster game. What if that happened? What if that happened and whoever was in charge was like, they all just laughed at him? They're like, ah ha 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 ha. No, that looks like the dude that's gonna sell the main character potions. That's a sick character. That's a sick NPC design you gave us just now. We'll take it. What if that happened? Because I think that might have happened. It's hard to say about Final Fantasy because the series is ancient and there are too many variations. Final Fantasy 13 had a black character with an afro, and he had 2 guns with a duck. A duck lived in his afro. I didn't play 13. This sounds amazing, by the way. The problem is he was designed by a Japanese man. So I mean that's fair. I mean, Yoshi's asking how long I've been playing the piano. How long have I been playing the piano? Years. Over 5 years. Over 6 years. Over 7 years. Definitely over 7 years. I've lived in LA almost 6, and I moved here playing piano, so over 7 years. He was based off Lionel Richie. He was cool though. I think here's the problem. I try to have context. If games are made in the US, it's like I'm a little bit harsher on games made in the US for maybe not having a black lead alpha than I am on games coming from Japan. When games come out of Japan and they have like really wonky racism in it, I'm not saying that it's okay or that I immediately forgive them, but I'm just like, you have to think about what Japan's like, you know, and what their culture is like. And so it's like having a Final Fantasy character that looks black be the main, like, identifiable playable character. I'm not exactly holding out for it just because, like, Japan looks like Japan. If Japan had a lot of black people running around, you know, in the streets, maybe. If, like, Tokyo and a lot of these, like, if Square had a lot of black people working for the company, maybe I would see something, like a shift like that happening. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have to take the culture into consideration. American culture is a lot different, so I feel like American culture should have maybe more diverse casts in games because the country itself is way more diverse than Japan is. So, yeah. Some people argue Kratos is black because his voice actor is black, but I mean, we all know that ain't the case. That's a fun case, though. If Kratos was actually characterized as a black dude, I think that would still work. Yeah. In my brain, Kratos is black. I think I'm the problem. Except for in the most recent one. In the God of War where he has the big beard, I'm like, oh, clearly not black there. But for some reason, in the earlier ones, hearing him and watching my friend play the game anyway, I just kind of thought he was black. I thought that he was black and he had been, like, bleached by the gods or something. Did that happen to him? Wasn't it, like, ash that was all over him? I never saw what he looked like before the ash got on him. I just assumed he was black, though. Although I realize that doesn't make any sense now that I'm saying it out loud. Americans in anime always are either portrayed as goofy tourists that sound like nerds or super buff cowboys. Oh, we're talking about, yeah, the way Japan sees. Yeah. They have had a lot of characters that weren't Asian and even heavy European themes. But that makes sense, Alpha, in terms of the culture. Like, in Japanese culture, you've been there, you've seen. You know what Japan's history is like. I think that, like, a lot of these things, like, it makes sense. And I definitely hear you for wanting change. But specifically out of Japan, it's like, I understand what's going on there. Sometimes it sucks, but I get it. I get it. You know, black people weren't the ones that showed up on ships, you know, trying to trade, you know, and telling people what to do. And so I can see a culture, you know, like that. Aren't the ones that showed up. I would say that about most of Asia. Asia maybe catering a little bit more to European stuff. At least once you get into the southeast, it gets a little bit different, right? Maybe America needs to market a cool black character to Asian people. Hey, yeah, that's a good bare bones movement. Bare bones, sorry, grassroots. Bare bones and grassroots are not the same thing. That's a good grassroots movement. Maybe that is a thing. I think that gradually we are we're seeing a shift. Alpha, a shift is happening. It's just happening very very slowly. Alpha, absolutely. I mean, even if you think about, remember Tom? Remember Tom, the hot dog man from Shinman? Alpha, please tell me who played Shinman. Tom, the hot dog man. Remember Tom? He was always dancing. And he got dreads, remember him? For some reason he lived in Japan and he was like selling hot dogs on the street from a truck. I never saw one person buy a hot dog from that man. Yoshi's saying that Piccolo is black and wants to know if I agree with him. I think Piccolo is Namekian, but I think that the black community has had a long history of grabbing the characters that weren't obviously white and going, yeah, this is the black one. He's got like more attitude and he looks different. What was the name of like when people were like Doug's homie? What was his homie's name? And they were like, he's black, and I was like, he's not, but yeah, he's black. I think that that's just a thing. So yes, Piccolo is black to the community. I also supported the whole like Piccolo is black movement when I was a kid, but I mean, no, he's not black. He's not black, but yeah, I feel you on that, Piccolo, for sure. Piccolo has a black attitude. Careful. What was Brock from Pokemon? I don't know. He came from like south of the region, I guess, where they get more sun. I don't know. Point is, yeah, I feel you though. That does happen. That does happen, Yoshi. I've also participated in it. The character that's like off on the side is the black one, and there's always something weird to him. I remember me and my sisters used to say that Grimace was black. Remember that weird purple thing that used to hang out with Ronald McDonald? And we're like, he's definitely black. That's the black one. Or we would look at Teletubbies, and there was the one Dipsy, I think, Dippy or something. He was like green. He was green, and his face was just slightly darker than the other ones, and he could dance. He would, like, whenever it was time for the Teletubbies to dance, he would be, like, hitting, like, real moves. I was like, oh, that one's definitely black. Yeah, so I understand 100% what you're saying about Piccolo being black. I think the Namekians had heavy North African themes in their culture. It's actually a good point, Alpha. It's actually a good point. I don't have many friends I can have intelligent conversations with. No one can have intelligent conversations with me. Why does characters in popular media have to follow some arbitrary racial checklist? Says Diz. There's reasons. I think art imitates life or whatever. I think people wanna, I think having realism in art helps some people relate to art better. But I feel you, Diz. Right? I think that's why. Yeah, the conversations, I would agree that they're more dynamic, maybe, Alpha. I don't know how intelligent they are, or I am. If someone made me the main character of a game and didn't know it was based off of a black dude, they'd say that the main character wasn't black enough. Oh, Umbe, don't get me started on that. I mean, I guess that's why we have the trap hi-hats underneath Miles Morales. It becomes a much more complicated conversation. I think that there's this really funny this doesn't apply to all media. It doesn't apply to all black people. But I will say that there was kind of this common destructive, I want to add, but we were young. We were like 13, 12, 13. We're like, oh, this is bad. Just remember, guys, the Omni that's in this story is 12, 13. I'm like 6th grade going into 7th grade. And it was a time. It was a time. So I'm not this person anymore. But I remember I went to a junior high school. I was going into a junior high school named Willis. The one that Gretchen Polo went to. And there was this girl at that school named Alyssa Oaks. And I hope she's cool wherever she is. Wherever she is. But it was a predominantly black and Hispanic junior high, so there wasn't very many white people there. She was one of them. She was one of the few white people that was in the school. I think maybe we had a collection of like 20, like a grand total. Collection sounds really weird. We had a grand total of maybe like 20 white people in the school, and I remember me. And she was like pretty popular, but like me and my black friends were like, she's probably not gonna date a black dude. That's definitely like that's not how it works. Like she's not gonna date a black dude. And she didn't for a very long time. There was like a handful of white dudes in the school, and so she kind of just dated back and forth between all of them. And then when she finally did date a black guy, I remember like a lot of us being like, oh, that one, like that's the one. And it was this dude that I've like made my peace with, but he was like Alfonso Rivera's character in Fresh Prince. He was like Carlton. He was Carlton. She was dating the Carlton of black people. He might have been Dominican too, anyway, now that I'm thinking about it. But anyways, she dated him. And I remember a lot of us were like, that's the one? You're gonna go with him? He's barely even black. Because that was the type of thing that I would say when I was 12. He's not even black, man. Full an Oreo. And then I remember that didn't last very long. And then like towards the end of the school year, she started dating like a dude I actually did not like. But he was black. And he was like a nightmare. He was a nightmare just being like, you're like a typical black kid. He was like a stereotype. And then I remember everybody also had a problem with that. We were just like, him? You're gonna pick like the most like dangerous stereotype of like a black dude and date him? And so it was kind of like there wasn't really a win for Alyssa Oaks. But again, we were all children, so it wasn't really a win. She was never going to date anybody, and we were all gonna be like, we were always upset. It wasn't a black guy. It was a problem. When it was a black guy, we didn't like the type of black guy it was, and so I can see how the argument's never truly over. But when I see black characters sometimes in movies or film for a long time, especially when it was like a token black character, Alpha, sometimes I would be like annoyed because like they would always be like Vince from like Recess, or they were like twirling a basketball on their finger, and I was just like, all right, guy, come on. Can we get anything else in there? And then they would start like break dancing. They would start like breakdancing and be like, "I'm cool," and they would like pull out a bass guitar from nowhere, and I'm just like, I like do not like this dude. Like this guy sucks. But you get annoyed when that's the pick. So since I think that I kept tapering my expectations from media so much so to where I might have just completely put out the light of expectations. Now it's like whoever's up there, that's fine, that's cool. I had like a whole thing looking at Degrassi about how all of the black characters, not all, but the majority of the black characters were playing a black character, but they were playing a character like their character had like two black parents, but I mean like somebody like Drake, like we knew that they were half white, and so it was always interesting looking at like half white characters play fully black characters. I'm like, why not just cast like one of their parents as white? Why? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? The light skin got in. Anywho, yeah, now I just don't care anymore. And now I've missed a bunch of stuff. Hold on. Ubi says, I've noticed that anytime we do get into representation, though, it's often shunned for being stereotypical. Gotta say, I agree with Diz that there's often too large of an emphasis on race. Or not. Right, it's a very nuanced argument to have. I understand people for wanting representation, but I also feel like because I'm lazy, because I tend to err on the lazy side, I would rather sometimes not get into it. And so it's like, I understand that having representation would be good, but I think that that's not the end. You know, putting a black person in, you know, in the main character lead role is not the end of that conversation at all. It's also like, yo, what is he doing? What is he acting like? How does he talk? And it becomes a little bit more specific, and I just like don't want to get into it all the time. What anime character has the most drip, says Yoshi? I don't know, Yoshi. I don't really watch a lot of anime anymore. If I'm going to pick a random anime character that I think has drip... Oh, Spike? I mean, that's like easy, right? Spike from Cowboy Bebop? It's almost too easy. I feel like I could come up with a better one, but I mean, he obviously has... Anyways, this says, not looking to start on a religious tip, but it reminds me of the arguments people have on race. What race was Jesus? It's not the point. Like the Maori twins in Goosebumps. I used to love Tamara. Tamara was mine. Alright, it's because black people can have light-skinned kids. Black people can't have light-skinned kids. You're absolutely right, Alpha. Why can't we just have dope characters, says Diz, and that's all that matters. I think we do have some dope characters, but it isn't all that matters. I feel you on that. When I was younger, people always assumed I like white girls or Asian chicks, but I know my type. The toxic ones, says Alpha. I mean, you can find toxic people in all varieties, Alpha. I'm a fan of toxic people. If we're just going by my track record, my like dating track record, somebody can make a very accurate assumption that I just really like. Sorry. album called Ego Death. Again, the name of the song is Vanilla. Oh, Cyber. How did you like the bacon pub sandwich, by the way? I don't think I ever got like a full Cyber review. How'd you like it? Also, yes, if you're in the stream, please remember to like the stream. It helps me a lot. When YouTube sees that at least 12 people have liked the stream, they give me $1,200. And boy, do I need that $1,200 today. Characters that I liked after Diz said just like having dope characters. Mine came with pickles, so did mine, Cyber, which wasn't in the ingredients list on the menu, but yeah, I liked it okay. The bread was very rich, and I had it with spicy chicken. The beer cheese didn't make me gurgle. Yeah, the beer cheese really hecked me up both times, so if I get it again, I'll get it without the cheese. Main characters that are/were dope. I really liked Vash the Stampede, but I understand that I probably just liked him because he was a shonen trope that I've since gotten tired of. Oh, I always order without onion too, Cyber, and I always laugh because on the menu it says no, it doesn't say onions, they're called something. Stragglers? Squigglers? Swirlers or something like that? No, curlers? It shows up as a funny word. What was I gonna say? Trigon was a lot more interesting show. Trigon was good. I did like Trigon. I would say that I liked Vash. Vash the Stampede was a really cool main character to me. I also liked Alucard. I understand Alucard's barely a character. He has like zero depth. I just thought he was very cool as a kid. Another character that I thought was very dope in media, I guess. All media. The main character from Seconds, whose name I'm forgetting for some reason right now. That's the first chord of Spring Street. That's why that sounds good. Interesting. Never stop learning, guys. Omni, are you a picky eater? Crow, seafood makes me sick. Other than that, I'll pretty much eat most things. If it's a plant, I'm definitely eating it. Some animals I feel like a little weird on. But if somebody's handing me some type of plant, a vegetable, a fruit, or whatever, it's like, yeah, I'll eat that. Some type of bread, I'm like, yeah, I'll eat that. Grains and things like that, I'll eat it. Meats, sometimes I get a little bit weird about. Like if somebody had like, like Fear Factor food, I'm not trying to eat that. I don't want to eat like cow eyeballs or anything like that. But, most things I'll eat. Most things I'll eat. As long as it's not seafood. I love Samurai Champloo, but the ending wasn't the best to me. I think everybody hated that ending. Samurai Champloo's ending. I feel like Samurai Champloo, like a lot of anime, did a lot of work building up characters and building up great storylines and narrative, and then in the end they were like, what do we do with all this now? How do we wrap this up? And it was very clear. But yeah, Samurai Champloo is great. I respect the progressive decisions to include more perspectives, says Diz, from different walks of life, but somehow along the way it always boils down to white people be like, black people be like, etc. Sometimes And I understand that this is a bit of a divisive thing to bring up, but sometimes you can have perspectives on completely non-things, you know? Like, if somebody made a game where you played as the beans from Fall Guys, I know that's my second Fall Guys reference, I'm sorry, I won't bring it up again in the stream, but if somebody did that, you can still have perspectives. I think that BoJack Horseman was one of the cooler shows to me. Again, I know that's divisive, but one of the cooler shows to me as far as teaching and showing perspective, because one, they pretty much erase any level of race by making the main character a horse. I mean, there is like a level of class. Everything else, there is classism in BoJack, but I think there were times in the BoJack story where I'm like, oh yeah, I relate to this, and that's really cool. And it wasn't necessarily because the main character looked like me, or was even necessarily going through the exact same things in life I was. There was just some like deeper, like cerebral issues that were going down, and I was like, yeah, that 100%, that's me. That happens to me all the time. I think it's pretty cool, because then there's been some other times where I've looked at something where the main character was black, and I was like, I can't relate to this at all. Outside of just the very surface level, like, oh, that's a black person. I think that when writing a story, making things relatable or making things feel very real or visceral isn't something I know how to do. Obviously, I'm not an author. I'm not really I don't make stories, but I don't know how to do that. But when it happens and it's done well, it's very, very cool. There's this Umbrella Academy does it, which is so cool because Umbrella Academy is so unrealistic. But probably Santa Claus Yoshi. How'd you feel about Static Shock? Says Alpha. I didn't care. I remember when Static Shock came on. Bang babies! You know, Static Shock did say a lot of things that I still say today. Like the cartoon. I didn't read the comic book. I'm sorry. I did read the comic book, and I was like, this is fine. But I didn't see Static Shock and go like, oh dang, finally a superhero that looks like me. Like I didn't have that reaction necessarily to Static Shock. I did have that reaction years earlier with a movie called Meteor Man. I did like Meteor Man, but anyways, no, I feel Static Shock was very good, and I did like it for reasons, but not because I related to him at all. I didn't like look at him and go like, dang, I relate to this, or like this, I identify with this character. Nothing about his life felt like mine. Outside of like him being brown and being a brown character, like his relationship with his father was very different than mine. Like his relationship with his community was very different than mine. Yeah, I don't know. I agree that they did a good job with Static Shock. Static Shock was really good. And I agree that Static Shock was maybe more relatable to me than somebody like Peter Parker was, who maybe wasn't relatable at all. Like I'm not in Queens, right? And so, yeah, maybe more relatable, but I still wouldn't. Like the amount more that he was relatable was so minuscule that I didn't take it into account at all. Static Shock was different in my opinion, says Umbe, though, because it was very heavily referencing and discussing racial politics. Like, I'm not expecting a black, uncharted bang bang dude to talk about any of that. That's a good point, Umbe. That's a good point. Again, I think that Static Shock was very important. I'm not saying that Static Shock failed in its... I think that it did a very good job and it was very good. I'm just saying, to me personally, I didn't like... Static Shock wasn't, like, it for me. You know. And I will say that Virgil was not a stereotype. Maybe, Alpha, maybe the fact that I had no, like, real big reaction to him as a character is the best thing. Maybe that's the sign that it did really well, because I didn't look at him and I wasn't offended by him. I think usually when there's a black character in a lead, Virgil, what's the word? the risk now, or the probability of me becoming offended or upset by this character goes up really high because I'm like maybe paying a little bit more attention. And the fact that I didn't feel any way positive or negatively with him or for him is maybe a good thing, you know? Like, that means it was a job well done. It's a cool concept. I'm gonna go watch anime now, says Yoshi. Right on brand. I hope you enjoy it, whatever you end up watching. Yoshi, we're almost done here anyway. No, you're good, Diz. You're good, Diz. I feel you. I just, I think... Crap, what were we saying before I got into Static Shock? Before you mentioned Static Shock? Static Shock was good. Oh, I can't remember what I was saying. What's the Static Shock? A stereotype. Oh, right. I was talking about BoJack. What's your thoughts on Boondocks? Today, I don't have any thoughts on Boondocks. When Boondocks happened, I thought it was cool. I don't have like a good like journalism take on Boondocks. I thought that Boondocks was cool, and when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, it's weird that this is allowed to exist. I will say that Boondocks didn't feel like a thing that should exist at the time it was existing. It felt like, whoa, they're allowing this to come on? That's cool. That's what it felt like. Boondocks felt like I was watching the Wayans Bros, but like I was just watching like a black show, but it looked like anime, which was weird. I think for my brain that was really weird for a long time. I was like, oh, weird. It's like a cool black cartoon. And it did make a lot of really cool points. I liked that Boondocks didn't cross, in my opinion, for my personal taste, it didn't cross the line of being too preachy, because it did kind of sometimes turn the pendulum back on. Like, it just showed what black culture could be to a lot of people, where it's like, we're going to show that there are some, like, hyper-vigilant, super, like, progressive people. There's also a lot of regression in black culture. There's a lot of, like, homophobia in black culture, but there's also a lot of really cool, like, art and, like, enriched values and, like, community, like, coming together. I like that it shed the light on that. It was, like, showing the diversity within the black community, instead of just showing the black community as being, like, all one thing, whether that is bad or good. Crow says Pops died. He was the backbone of Boondocks. Somebody can make a pretty good argument that he was also the backbone of the Wayans Bros show, but word out. I feel you. Hey, what's so easy, Dora? Yeah, Boondocks was good. But I'm doing okay, Easy Dora. How are you doing? I hope you've had a good morning or evening, or whatever it is where you are. I hope it's been pleasant. But yeah, ultimately for me, I just feel like a good writer, whatever that is, I think as an experienced or particularly in-touch writer, can tell a story that is compelling, no matter what the optics are. I think that somebody can tell a very, very good story about people and cultural issues and all of this stuff, and do it in like an Animal Farm-esque type of way, where there's no actual one-to-one comparisons happening on screen between like races or classes or whatever, where the whole thing is kind of an analogy. I think that I've seen a lot of very, very good stories told that way, like the BoJack approach, right? And I've also seen a lot of stories where there was a black person in the main character and it was handled poorly, right? So you can do it either way, but since I've experienced more of the former, I'm not super, I'm not super preoccupied with what the cast or main characters look like, outside of like getting annoyed. I think that If it takes place in Brooklyn or whatever, there's no black people, I think I'm like a little annoyed where I'm just like, okay, this is stupid. But I think somebody that's like really good at telling stories can still tell a good story, regardless of who's represented. Because I think that I would like for my psyche to be represented in shows. Have you ever looked at a show and you've gone like, that's what I would have done. Have you ever done that? You look at a show and you see, even if they're not the main character, you see a side character do something. Maybe somebody mistreats them, and that's like the last straw, and they're over it, and you're just like, yeah, screw that. That's what I would do. Like, that's me. I think that I like being able to identify with people's like psyche in film more so than like looking at them being like, I look like that, I dress like that, I walk like that, I talk like that. I I like it when people and things seem to be able to act or move ideologically like I do, and that is rarer to me than seeing black people on screen. Because, like we talked about earlier, like, yes, I saw Vince on screen. I did not relate to Vince. I wasn't playing basketball and always running around with a jersey with a freaking flat top. That wasn't me. I could see Barrett in Final Fantasy. I did not relate to Barrett outside of like some skin color. I could see Tom selling hot dogs in Shenmue. I did not relate to Tom from Shenmue. I could see all these things and not relate to him, but sometimes I will relate to the character on a deeper level and be like, yeah, like I understand that. Sometimes the characters are black, sometimes they're not. Most times, let's be fair, most times they're not, because it's just, probability, right? But I think that's what's important to me in movies and comic books and video games. And honestly, I can't even think of the last time that's happened, where I've looked at the way a character has behaved and I've been like, yeah, that's how I would have done things. Yeah. If Animal Crossing was Animal Farm, I would play it, Cyber. I would play it. I get a little mad, says Umbe, every time somebody says, yo, Miles Morales is just like you, dude. I'm like, yo, Umbe, yes. You know what's weird? And like, let people enjoy things at the end of the day. Let everybody enjoy their things. But sometimes when somebody brings up Miles Morales to me as if I'm supposed to like love Miles Morales, I actually, this is like divisive, but in a lot of ways, I like Peter Parker more than Miles Morales. I like Miles Morales' suit more, and I like his power set more, and he's definitely done some cooler things character-wise. But when it comes down to it, like, Miles Morales is still just a comic book character, and like Peter Parker has done some pretty dope stuff too. I don't know. And so like people will see like Into the Spider-Verse and they're like, yo, Omni, like how do you feel about Into the Spider-Verse? And I'm like, the animation was like groundbreaking. But I'm not exactly talking about like those Miles Morales being some like freaking dope, super cool, like, oh my god, yo, Nikes? I never even thought about that. I never thought that a superhero could wear Nikes before. Dang, you got the Jordans on, the Breads. Oh my god. Am I playing Among Us as Isidore? I am, kind of. But not with everybody today. That's later. I'm looking up Tom from Shenmue and he isn't black. Spider-Man is relatable because Peter Parker is like a person. I see myself in him, says Umbe. Spider-Man's relatable to me because he's young. Right? So Peter Parker, I like Peter Parker because all the other superheroes were like off doing things and he was the only one that had to go to school while he was fighting crime, and I was like, oh, he's like me. He has like crushes and angst. I like that. I wasn't seeing a lot of angst in Captain America or I mean, I guess Tony Stark has some weird like daddy issues that could manifest as angst, right? But yeah, I saw myself in Peter Parker. I didn't necessarily see myself in Miles Morales, but maybe that's because I was already an adult when he was a thing, when he became a thing. How are we gonna be doing voice chat? I actually don't know, Alpha. I don't think. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you, Cyber. I actually didn't know that. I actually didn't know that. I didn't actually know where that came from. I was just one of those people that was going to keep quiet and just pretend um, that it could be redacted from any comment until somebody explained. Did you ever watch X-Men Evolution, Omni? I sure did. Yeah. Yeah, I watched X-Men Evolution. Because they were young, and it was relatable to me. Because they were like, everybody was trying to smash each other all the time, and I was like, that seems more like the Xavier Academy to me. Oh, man. Oh, Discord. Ooh. Oh, Discord. Yeah, we can use Discord, maybe. Yeah, maybe we can use Discord. Alright, Crow says, have you heard of a speed round in Among Us? It's when the kill timer is 10 seconds and the lights are always off, voice chat's on. Oh, that doesn't sound like that would be fun for me, but that sounds like it would be fun to watch somebody else do. To my knowledge, Among Us does not offer voice chat. To my knowledge. But I've only ever played it on mobile, so... Oh, on PC it does. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah, I've only ever played it on mobile, so that's why I don't know voice chat in Among Us. The issue with the game is you don't want voice chat active all the time because then you can hear when people die. Yeah, like if you had voice chat on, it would ruin the game. Like I actually like that the game forces you to do like a timed chat, like you have to like text things out on mobile. I actually like that. I feel like the game would be impossible because if it was voice chat on all the time, people could just go like, yo, everybody, like, where are you? What are you doing? And, you know, you like split off into the buddy system, you figure out who the killer is in like 30 seconds. It does not. The game is a miracle and probably shouldn't even function as it does. I agree with this, Unbei. Okay. X-Men Evolution was good, though, by the way. I can't remember who asked that, but I did watch it. It was chill. I liked Nightcrawler in it. I always like Nightcrawler and everything. He's good. I thought people on YouTube had to manually turn voice chat on and off. I just assumed that they were all in... That's how I assumed they were doing it too, actually. Yeah, the show was alright. I don't remember much from the show. I don't remember anything from, like, kids' cartoons I watched, you know? If I'm being honest, I don't remember anything from those things. The movie The Wraith came on yesterday. Some, like, Charlie Sheen movie that I saw when I was a kid because my dad was watching it. And I was surprised at how much I remembered from that movie, honestly. Like, the whole twist of the movie still got me. I didn't remember that, but, yeah. Yeah, I feel like I see poggers a lot, or I hear the word poggers. I like Spike, Rogue, and Wolverine, says Alpha. The animation looked good for its time. I agree. It was good. That used to be an easy grab for me. If anybody ever remade a thing, but with children, if they were like, hey, you've heard of Muppet, now they're Muppet Babies, or like, yo, you've heard of, X-Men, look, now they're teenagers. Like, have you heard of Justice League? Check out Young Justice. Like, I used to love stuff like that. No longer do I like things like that. One of my favorite shows ever was Justice League cartoon. Word Up Alpha. Young Justice was a mess, says Alpha. Word up. I don't like DC anyway, so who cares? The only DC thing I've ever liked as far as cartoons was the Batman animated series. That's because it was on and I was watching it and it was good. People back in the day used to play with their pogs. They'd stack a bunch into a tower and you were supposed to use a thick pog to try to flip cardboard circles. And that you kept it. The game kids played in the 90s. I remember pogs. I didn't know that there was actually a relation to pogs and poggers. He was saying he was a pog champ. Was it just like a random thing to say? I could have thrown the arcade stick and calling himself the pog champ was a loose reference to that game. That's so cool. Wow. I had no idea there was a relation, Cyber. I used to steal pogs back in my My thieving days. I used to steal pugs. Alright, internet is weird, says Diz. I agree with this. We should start wrapping it up. Flip it over, just Google PogChamp, and that's what people mean when they say Pog. The lore doesn't really matter to me. Most people, when they say it now. Word up. Crow says Pog. Guys, I have a lot of music out. I have an EP. These all the things I'm about to name are EPs and mixtapes that have several songs on them. The first one I'm going to name is Tall Tales. After that is Signals, and then House of Omni. Then we have the Dream series. We have Daydream, Love Dream, Speed Dream, Lush Dream, Daydream. And then we have Quick Breath and Ego Death. Those came out last year, guys. Last year. So it's officially a year old now. Happy birthday, Ego Death and Quick Breath. You can hear those things on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube, which we're on right now. Also, while you're on my YouTube, I do have Quarantunes up. I know everybody hasn't watched them yet, so I have to keep saying it until everybody has seen them. Quarantunes are a series of 2-minute songs I made where I also shot and edited music videos for them in my bedroom. So go check those out if you get a chance. Hey, what's up, random dude? How are you? Didn't know you were here. If you just made it, welcome. This song is called Hush Hour. Wow, I'm hungry. Ooh. Baby needs a snack. Anyways, this is the last song that I usually play in the morning medley stream. Really quick bit of news, guys. Tomorrow is the production stream that happens every Friday. It's going to be 6 hours long. Starts at the same time that these ones do, though. Starts at 9 a.m. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's cross-platform either. But yeah, tomorrow's stream, again, 6 hours. It's a production stream. I'm going to be in free loops the entire time, taking requests of things that you guys would like me to make and work on, and also just working on some older stuff that I've started in previous production streams. Oh, I didn't even know my mom was in here. Hi, Mom. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for that. In the meantime, thank you for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I gotta go move my car before I get a ticket. But I'll see you guys here tomorrow. Abo, everybody.